This season of the Wine O'Clock Show proudly brought to you by Tom's Cap Vineyard Retreat. Escape to Tom's Cap. Carolyn's First National Real Estate, the #1 choice for real estate on the Sunshine Coast. And the Olsen Hotel Art Series, right in the heart of Chapel Street. Cheers.
Cheers.
Emma and Tom Hawkins, welcome to the Wine O'Clock Show.
Thank you for
Thanks
having
very
us.
much.
Oh, we better sip, yeah. Good look in the eye and sip.
Oh, sorry.
We were just talking about that. Welcome, welcome.
Thank
New
you.
year, and you're just about to head into pre-season for the Geelong Cats. We can't have you on the show, obviously, without talking a bit about AFL.
Absolutely.
You have played something like 232 games so far, 498 goals. You're just a powerhouse. What is it about AFL that you love so much?
Well done on the stats, first of all.
I did
But
my research.
I suppose it's football's been a huge part of my life right from the word go. So, I mean, both sides of the family. My dad played for Geelong, and my mum's father, Fred, played for Geelong as well. So football's a big part of our family on both sides. And then growing up in a small country town of 2,000 people, you get to an age of 6 or 7 and then in your early teens and you can play local footy and it's a big part of the community. So I've always had football around me, and it's something that I loved, and I was always relatively good at a young age, and it's just been something I've know so well more than anything else for 25 years.
Sounds good. Did you love it because of your height? Were you always big?
I was always tall, and at some stages I was probably a little bit wide too. But I've been relatively athletic. I come up against the best kids in the country now, so I probably don't seem as athletic as some of those guys, which is fair to say. But I suppose in my younger days, being tall certainly helped me. I could play a variety of positions. So I have to thank my parents.
Are you a AFL lover too, Em?
Yeah, I am.
Did you, before you met Tom, were you a Geelong Cats supporter?
I wasn't the Cats. I was Essendon, Sydney, Essendon. I loved the Swans, but a little bit like Tom, I grew up in a small country town. It was a bit bigger than Finley, and it's such an important part of communities, all sports. So on Saturdays, you'd go down to the local netball team. Your parents would give you $5. Back then, that would give you, a good 15 python snakes. And you'd all kind of meet at the footy oval. Yeah. So I always had footy around me. My dad loves it. Yeah. My mum's English, but didn't know a lot about football. But now we could arguably say that she is the keenest of us all.
Yeah.
And then coming to Melbourne when I was 12, I was walking distance to the G, and I love it.
Yep.
I love the social side of it.
Yeah, our fun, because I didn't grow up, I was in Tassie for about 10 years, and my brothers played AFL, and I always fond memories of all the cars lining up around the ovals, and every time someone,
beeping the horn, whistling, It seems the same for everyone who grows up with footy, but it's, I reckon I miss times like that where you played in the morning, and I just remember it just being so much fun. I suppose back then you didn't have a worry in the world, but it's like that for everyone, and that's why sport's such a big part of Australian
You probably
culture.
answered, you've said your dad played, so I was going to say, out of all the clubs, why did you choose Geelong?
Well, in a lot of ways, Geelong chose me. I was a father-son, and the father-son rule has changed a bit over the last 10 years. Well, this is my 13th year, so last 12 years. When I got drafted, your dad had to have played 100 games for that club.
Yeah.
My dad played 180 for Geelong, so I was selected in the third round, and it's changed a little bit since. But I was very fortunate that. Even 2 months leading up to the draft, I knew where my future, certainly for the next 2 years when I finished school, was going to be. So that was nice. I didn't have the stress of, say, one of my young teammates, Oscar Brownless, whose dad, Billy, played for Geelong. He got drafted eventually under the father-son, but had to wait a long time until his name was read out. So it's changed a lot, but I was really fortunate. And I was a Mad Cats supporter growing up. So
it has made your dreams that you got picked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I still as a 17 and 18-year-old, I was following Geelong intensely as I did when I was 10. So I've always loved the footy club. It is more like a job now, and I'll become a fan again once I'm finished. But the footy club is pretty.
Well, you'll obviously stay with Geelong for your entire career.
Yeah, look, as a player now, and we constantly talk about you've got to be flexible because the landscape's changed with the way that players can move around. So, look, if we ever got the opportunity to go anywhere else and Geelong didn't want me anymore, well, if you can extend your career, you go elsewhere. But for the most part, and Emma's been wonderful throughout my career. I'm sure at stages she hasn't wanted to be in Geelong, but she's...
I do now. It's quite. When I first moved to Geelong, it took me a long time to come down, and I struggled at the start. And
where were you coming down from? Sydney?
From Melbourne.
From Melbourne,
so not that far.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge move.
Yeah. All the way from Melbourne.
But I was in my mid-20s and I was really career hungry at the time, and on some level I felt I'm around and still I'm such strong women that I was almost a little bit embarrassed to tell them at the time that I'd quit my job to move to Geelong because ultimately it was too hard with the commute. I was working in media, my hours were crazy. I was in Sydney a bit, and there was a little bit of me that was a bit ashamed to say, I've quit my job for a guy. But it turns out I have had my own
Turn
career.
out he's all right.
It was worth it. But funnily enough, I mean, I now wouldn't want to leave Geelong. If, as Tom said, if we had to, we'd make it work. And I think you look at everything with what an amazing opportunity.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love living in Geelong now.
Yeah. If you weren't playing AFL, what would you be doing?
Great question. I mean, I get that a lot. My passion for sport would have to say would have seen me in some other field in whether it be football or cricket or tennis. I love anything, any sport, and Emma can attest to that.
Are you like this wife that sits like the channel? They just flick through the sports channel on Foxtel.
You'll have.
Yeah.
It's quite incredible. The cricket going while the basketball's on his phone, while golf is on his laptop. It's amazing. I thought he was doing work this off-season with his finance course. It turns out he was doing the basketball drafting.
There was a bit of that. There was
a lot. He had his Excel spreadsheets up.
It didn't work, so I wouldn't have gone into basketball management or anything. But I certainly would have loved to be in sport, whether that's I don't know, potentially journalism or maybe even management. But anything around sport. I mean, we touched on the fact that our little country towns that we grew up in heavily populated by sport. Yeah. So sport's always been around me. I grew up on a farm, so my father is still on the family farm. So maybe I would have gone down that path as well. So
well, you've got your own little farm, aren't you?
Yeah, well, that's true. I wouldn't have got it at Finley, I don't think.
It gets to a moment where you just can't wear gumboots anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right. We've got a few acres down in Geelong, which we don't really talk about much, but we're really proud of that. The fact that we've got a small family now and growing. soon to get bigger. But it's
Carrying
the
another
luxury.
little Hawkins.
Yeah,
that
little naughty one. Yeah, the luxury we have, I suppose, in Geelong, where you're in a city, a regional city that's big, but not too big, where you can live 20 minutes away from work and be on a few acres, which is a lot of the things that we do that we probably don't realise are a bit nostalgic. Like, we've got a shearing shed and a few sheep. It's not much, but we're certainly not farmers. But little things like that. Exactly, dabble, which is fun. Like, we've really enjoyed it. It's a lot more work than we thought.
Yeah, it's a lot more work.
Being in town, but we're loving it.
But it'd be great. Like, you've got is it 2? Is your daughter 2?
Yeah, Belle's nearly 2.
2, yeah. And then obviously with the next one coming, but farm life to city life, I just think bringing up children on the farm, and even like teaching them those responsibilities of things need feeding, and are you city, country?
Well, it depends who you ask.
Yeah.
I'm a country girl that saw the city lights and felt at home straight away. I love the city. However, it's, as Tom was saying before, we've almost done it. Tom's definitely country.
Yep.
But it's like we've done a bit of a swing back to our own childhood in a way. And I think what Geelong offers is incredible, because it affords you the best of both worlds. You can have that country and city, which I think both are really important if you can do it. I mean, to us, I think it's a luxury where we live at the moment to be able to offer children, to give them access to what city provides, which a lot of country kids, if they're living quite remotely, miss out on.
Yeah.
But then to be able to offer what, a lot of country kids get, on our small acreage is like, our kids are very, very blessed.
Yeah. It's important for you to bring your kids up in the country rather than the city?
It is. I mean, we would adapt. I think we would make anything work.
Yep.
We're lucky that we can do this at the moment, but we don't know what 10 years holds. We hope that we can stay around, but we just don't know, and we'll just adapt and make anything work, really, like any parents.
Tom, I don't mean to rub salt into the wound, but 2001 was the last time Geelong won a flag. We're coming into the 2019 season. Is there anything Geelong's going to do differently, or what's the game plan for this year?
I will correct you there. 2011
was
the
it?
last one we played in and won. That's all
2011.
right. It's an interesting one. If I knew the answer,
you'd be head coach.
Yeah,
I would be head coach, playing head coach. Imagine that. But look, I'm not sure. I've touched on again before that I watch a lot of basketball, and I love the way that American athletes have this the attitude that they just want to get better every day, and I think that's slowly creeping into our society in sport. So I think over the off season we've highlighted some areas that we as a footy team need to get better, and we're working on those, and we've got 3 months to work on them. So we certainly need to become more consistent as a club. Both senior players and then younger players, which is sometimes hard to ask of our young players, but we've got a really good young list. The kids are mature, so that's probably our biggest challenge, and whether that's it's not so much a physical challenge, but it's about how we can mentally stay focused and present and just be hungry to succeed.
I want to touch on women in sport, because it's a big thing that I'm passionate about. I think we were talking off camera about my daughter playing cricket for Queensland, and you don't see a lot of televised women's sport. But we're seeing now a lot of there's women's AFL, there's women's rugby, there's women's cricket, but we still seem to have this barrier around the level of men to women. Why do you think that would be? I'm
not sure. I think we're getting there. I've seen a huge difference in the Geelong community in embracing the women's team that's coming into WAFL. So that's exciting. I think women in sport is a great thing, but Yeah, isn't it? I mean, I love it. I mean, we've got a daughter, so it's sort of changed a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, our
Changes
thinking.
perspective, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
You were chatting to like one of your teammates the other day, and they said if you had told us 5 years ago that we'd be sharing ice baths with
Women.
like they would have said,
way.
no way. But it's happened so quickly, and I think the AFLW is a really great example of what can happen when people high enough demand change.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of other leagues or whether it's cricket or basketball for women are missing a bit of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can imagine a lot of female basketballers might be sitting on the side going,
yeah,
geez, that looks nice. Like all that sponsorship and support and
airtime,
and it's fantastic. But it just goes to show you need the right people above, like Tom said, that older generation that are in positions to demand change.
And that was probably going to be my next question to you, Em, was like, how do we, in the order, for the change to take place, what do we need to do?
Yeah, I think
to take the women seriously, I guess.
Getting enough women in those high roles to demand the change and what should be expected. I also think Tom touched on a bit before about I've watched my fair share of American sport now through Tom. I love the fact that over in America, and it's more of an American-Australian thing, that Americans embrace flavour and personality and a bit of arrogance where we do not at all.
Yep.
And it's even tenfold for women. So I think having more women show a bit of flavour, be in the media more, come out and like show a bit more personality, makes it more enticing for the younger generation of women to get there. So instead of, you say Liz Cambridge in the media and she gets labelled, like terrible terms sometimes because she's got a great opinion. So instead of her being opinionated and it should be like she's strong and it's great that she has an opinion and celebrate women like that in sport more rather than tear them down.
Exactly. And I think you find that, I think it's across anything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that if women show a bit of assertiveness or a bit of
flair, a bit of flavour.
Yeah, they're labelled.
Yeah, divas or opinionating and opinionated. So, and that's across, in all workplaces with women, but I think definitely in sport as well. So, the more Liz's we have or people like yourself and Daisy Pearce and stuff, I think it's fantastic. And
Meg Lanning's doing some great things in cricket.
Yeah.
She is. So,
it's a great space. It's a great time to be in sport, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's hard too because not all sports, women's sport, have the funding that say the AFL or maybe even. I'm not sure too much of the details of cricket, but I suppose once we can get more injection of funds into that to promote grassroots stuff.
Yeah.
I think
but
the
it's
product
even like the
even
pay
becomes
levels too,
better.
is I hate to think what the men cricketers get paid opposed to the women cricketers.
Yeah.
They're both doing the same training, the same everything. And it's just that equality, I guess, that they're searching for as well.
A lot of women. I was chatting to one of the girls who's playing football. She's had to quit her job because they need to train 30 hours a week, I think. So she can't keep her full-time job. She's got to go part-time now. But in saying that, the footballers are getting paid nowhere near enough, but it's a step in.
Yeah,
it's a step.
Yeah. I'm just going to read out. You've got quite an impressive title. You're the lifestyle director for Yellow Glen. You're the ambassador for Waddle Health Australia, Charles Rose Jewelers. There's a skincare range in there as well. And I think you have a BA in communications. Is that right? Wow. How do you do it? You're a wife, you're a mum, you're a farmer's wife. How do you do it all?
That's my hardest role, being a farmer's wife. They're very demanding, those farmers. They had me baking scones the other day.
We've got high standards.
And those sponge cakes have to be perfect.
And the shearers.
The shearers, mind you, they work hard. So
how do you do it all?
Well, I have a great husband who has always. I mentioned before when I quit my job at Gourmet Traveller at Bauer Media. I was working still in Geelong. I got a job in advertising, so I went straight back to work. But it took me a while to find my feet, and Tom was really supportive and understood that I'd be a very miserable. I didn't go to uni to just work for 8 years.
Yeah.
I didn't. I want to work and I want to be a really good role model for my children. And
Absolutely.
Tom's career is really amazing at the moment, but it's short-lived. So we need to be a little bit clever with the transition with life after football as well.
Yep.
So I kind of had a bit of a strategy that I wanted to continue working in media. So I'd say it's my role as a creative consultant more than anything, with a variety of brands. And I've always just worked really hard the last 5 years to get to the point where I can be flexible as a mum and with Tom's job in case I need to move interstate. I've just wanted to create a work environment that's flexible. So I do a lot of contract roles, and just I dip my toes and fingers in a lot of things, which I thought growing up that was I was always told to just focus on one thing. But I now really embrace it and think it's great that in 2018, as a mother, you can kind of determine your own career path and make it your own. So I'm really enjoying work
I
at the
often
moment.
say to people, because people ask me that question, and I'm like, my kids adapt to my life, not the other way around. Like, they seem to be like, when women have children, it's like, okay, we stop our careers, we stop everything, stay at home and be a stay-at-home mum.
I went through a real, like a big identity crisis for a bit, and you actually said, I think you should go back to work for a day, or just go and do a photo shoot, do some styling, get your creative head ticking, because I was kind of, you're like, okay, what am I meant to do now?
It's just healthy, because that's the sort of person you are.
Yeah, and some women adapt to being a stay-at-home mum incredibly well. Hats off to them. That is, wow. So it's the individual, but I've always wanted to work.
I believe that like our paths are always littered with like learnings or challenges along the way. What have been some of the challenges to get to you to where you are today?
So many. I think everyone's challenges are relative to their, like what mine might be. My big ones might be small compared to some of the people I know. I think kind of having confidence in myself and what I do. I'm around a lot of people who tend to have a traditional job, like a lawyer or an accountant, and they don't really understand what I do. So I always find it hard explaining what I do and justifying it and feeling worthy enough of what I do. And I do find it hard, like a challenge this year, working for myself. I've had HG morning sickness again. So you can call a few clients that weren't happy on a few days because I couldn't get there, or I may have been in hospital or something. And when you're working for yourself, you don't have anyone.
Backup.
You don't have backup,
No.
and that's the one thing I struggle with at the moment.
Success to a lot of people means a lot of different things. What does success mean to you?
Oh, this is going to sound really corny. Having a bell and another one on the way, I think success is if you're healthy and you're enjoying what you're doing and you're living comfortably, that's pretty...
Yeah,
that's it.
I totally agree, because people, I think you ask them that question, what does success mean? And they think, oh my goodness, I'm not a CEO of a company and I'm not this and I don't own my own home. Success means different things to different people.
I have those as goals and career goals, but success to me, that success is about life for me, whereas my career goals are different.
And that's probably only been highlighting more since we've had Arabella.
Oh, before that it would have been a totally different answer.
It would have been there, but it's just
Changes.
Yeah,
shifts.
it just shows the fact that to be successful is to be happy.
And I think it's not a lot of people, and as I said, I'm doing a lot of different things at the moment, but I see every day Tom living out his dream. Not many people get to do that.
Exactly,
the reality is not like, very few people go, I want to be this, and go and do it and are great at it. It's such a privilege, and I get to see that every day with Tom. So we see how lucky we are.
You're about to add another feather to your cap with the launch of a new range.
Yes.
Can we touch briefly on what you're going to be doing?
Yeah. Because no new mother has ever launched a children's brand before. It's game changing, really. I really want to create something with a children's brand for newborns that pay tribute to Australia. I'm, I guess I want to use, being from the farm and how we're growing up, I want to use Australian cotton, Australian merino wool.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I'm quite patriotic about our country as well. So I want to create a brand that people can dress their clothes in, knowing that all the
Made in
material
Australia,
is
here
from
for
Australia.
Yeah.
So I'm working on that with a few other people at the moment. And
Fantastic.
just adding another thing to do.
Yes. I know.
Why
It's
not?
like, because you don't have enough to do already and you're about to have another kid.
baby.
Sometimes a bit of worry, but
Yeah.
you love it.
It sounds more hectic than we make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our personalities a bit.
Yeah.
too.
Someone always told me that in a relationship, it's always like a seesaw. So it's very rarely you're on level playing field. So, during the off season, like Tom steps up and I can go out and do more. And during the season, I take a back. And we just kind of communicate and make it work without during our busy times.
One of the things we've touched on a lot during this interview is, I guess, your love for the farm. And I really want to talk about rural aid, which is a passion for both of you.
Yeah.
I know in 2018, there was a huge outcry for the Australian public to help the farmers who are really struggling. And I think this is something that obviously needs to be put in the forefront of our minds always, because 2 weeks is not enough to be, promoting it. It should be always. Yeah. So I guess what can we do as Australians? I mean, besides we can't deliver water, obviously, but what can we do as Australians to keep our farmers going?
I think
buy local.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean that's effectively where it starts.
Yeah.
Well, I think as being in like metropolitan areas of Melbourne, you forget a little bit about our produce, and whether it be crop or beef or sheep or whatever it might be, or cotton. It's
it's one of our biggest international trades as well. So it this doesn't only just affect us directly. It affects our international trading and everything when things go pear-shaped.
Do you think there has to be that scare tactic almost now with Australians? Like if our farmers shut their gates and we cannot do it anymore, what impact would that have to Australia? It's do we have to go down that scare tactic of?
I think with a lot of things, once we're educated as people in Australia, we tend to be really supportive. And I know that, as you said, we need to keep supporting the farmers that are going through a really tough period of drought through New South Wales and Queensland. But we just people give when they can, and we're really good at that in Australia. I suppose it's just a matter of keep highlighting the issues that are happening, because it's not so much it's their health and well-being as well as the fact that they're not going to be able to make an income from what they're doing. So it's a bit scary, but
so just keep giving.
Keep giving.
Rural aid?
And keep buying local.
Yeah.
There's buy a bale.
Well, we sort of got behind that. We had a chat during the year, and I had seen firsthand what it was like to go through drought, and I mean our families put up an amazing front, and I think people in the country just generally do. They put up a bit of a front. They're hard-working people, so
then they don't take help easily either.
So we saw the opportunity with the platform that we sort of have just to be able to support rural aid and people within remote communities or farms that are really struggling. So
there's also things that people can do on the weekends, depending on where you are, go for a drive or a weekend away and go stay in some of the towns and Airbnb, and you go to the local pub and try and inject any type of revenue that you can through supporting local businesses in the towns that are affected.
Or even as you said, stay away from the big supermarket chains and maybe go down to your local farmers market. And
I mean, to be fair, I reckon our supermarket chains are pretty good in terms of Woolies got on board big time with the recent campaign where I think one day all proceeds from the fruit and veg went straight back to the farmers.
Fantastic,
So it's just, it's people, unfortunately, when you have a big campaign and it's everywhere, people get tired from seeing all the sadness. So people kind of tune out. So it's finding ways throughout the year because
creative ways.
It doesn't
there
stop.
You
Yeah, creative ways.
There's a job.
Throughout the year. To
While
keep
you're
people,
doing nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But yeah, as Tom said, I think once everyone's educated enough, Aussies are pretty good at getting behind other Aussies.
Yep. Well, to close off the show, we always like to play a little game. And are you up for a bit of Never Have I Ever?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Have you played before?
Like, yeah, but back when I was, it was a drinking game.
It was a drinking game.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I don't think you had water in front of you when you played this, Emma, so this will be interesting to see how you go on this one.
And if there's a great little story that you've got behind your, if you have, we like to hear it too.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Okay, yeah.
We've had a few like married couples on here playing this game, and they've revealed stuff to one another that they didn't know. So it could get interesting.
Right. Yeah.
All right.
On the rundown? No,
Yeah.
that's good.
Never have I ever done a nudie run.
You would have.
Yeah, I'm just trying. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah.
Oh dear. Never have I ever sent a rude photo or raunchy text to the wrong person.
Really?
Yeah, when I was overseas one year, accidentally to Robbie.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right.
Do you
Yeah,
remember?
yeah, I remember that. One of our great friends.
Yeah.
Awkward.
So awkward.
But he's not awkward though, Robbie.
Oh.
Never have I ever stolen something. Have you? Down the local store?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I was young.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
like yesterday.
And I was caught eventually
caught too.
by my mum and
Oh, really?
yeah.
My mum
Fair to say, I'll never
stormed
took
me
straight
back into the supermarket.
Really? What'd you
Yeah.
steal?
A lollipop.
Yeah.
Chewy.
My son stole a paperclip from Kiki K one day, and and it wasn't until I walked out of the store and he had it in his hand. I'm like, "What have you got?" And he's like, so I made him, stormed him back in and made him That was had him at the counter, and he's just
yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, well, I dare say mine was
Lollipop
sitting.
and chewy,
Yeah. I'd probably been thinking about it the whole time, and then Mum was there scanning everything through, and I.
What I didn't put in my plan was don't open the lollipop in the
car.
car.
Yeah.
Never have I ever cheated on a test.
Yeah.
Maths, English.
Yeah.
Never have I ever re-gifted a gift that was given to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always a goodie. Never have I ever made a prank phone call.
I think everyone's made a prank phone call before.
Yeah.
Never have I ever broken something at a friend's house and not told them.
Oh.
They're about to find out.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No?
I don't think so.
Em's thinking about it long.
I think I've always been busted. I have broken things at friends.
Never have I ever lied about. Never ever have I lied about having an emergency to leave a bad date.
We've never really been on any dates.
No.
Oh no, sorry.
Never have I ever sworn on live TV or on air.
I have.
Yeah. Did you
Oh,
get
yeah,
beat
after
out?
the grand
Grand
final.
final,
Oh,
yeah.
did you?
Yeah. I didn't even realise that I'd said anything, but I got reminded with text.
You're like, this is just
They haven't
effing
let him-
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, didn't even realise. So.
And they haven't let you back on TV.
No, I know. You know what? If I got the chance to win another one, I reckon I'd do the same thing.
Yeah. How can you not? It's, you're on
know.
such a high.
You often see it with
Yep.
people in sport.
Yep.
Grand finals, I don't like watching the game because I get a bit jealous, but then I love watching the players get their medals and speaking to the cameraman. Like, it's just so raw. You just don't get that
Yeah.
as a
Do you ever
an
watch
athlete
yourself
within
back
Australia.
over playing football?
Yeah, watch. Oh, well, certainly through the week.
Yeah.
You watch your edits, we call them.
I will say we don't watch any football at home, really.
Yeah.
Like no
Other codes?
show, like no
Oh.
AFL. We don't watch any of the shows or anything.
midweek shows.
Midweek
yeah.
shows or
Yeah.
I'll watch a game every now and then, but
maybe an old game.
yeah, I don't.
So I'll give him that.
But yeah, I have sworn. on
Never
TV.
have I ever Googled myself. Well, end on that one. Thank you. Thank you so much. Cheers.
Yeah,
Cheers,
that
thanks for
was
having
fun.
us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
It's like a
Cheers.
date night day for us.
I know.
Good.
Forgot to drink. When in Melbourne, the Wine O'Clock show stays and films at the Olsen Art Series Hotel, a perfect location right in the heart of Chapel Street, Melbourne. This season of the Wine O'Clock show proudly brought to you by Tom's Cap Vineyard Retreat. Escape to Tom's Cap. Carolyn's First National Real Estate, the #1 choice for real estate on the Sunshine Coast. And the Olsen Hotel Art Series right in the heart of Chapel Street.